The film opens with a sniper named Driss, hidden among the trees, preparing to carry out an assassination. As soon as her target's private jet lands, she locks onto him and takes the shot. Mission accomplished. At the same time, we're introduced to another sniper named Levi, who has been retired for 4 years and hasn't taken part in any mission since. We see him early at dawn, sitting by the ocean, quietly watching the sunrise. Suddenly, he receives a call, an official summons from a U.S. military base. He heads to the base and meets a high-ranking officer named Barso. She's aware that Levi's been out of the game for 4 years, ever since a military psychiatrist deemed him unfit for duty. But she also knows he's elite, someone who's completed many high-level missions. She tells him they need someone of his skill set for a new assignment, one that will involve complete isolation from human contact for a long period of time. Meanwhile, Driss is in Lithuania, visiting her father, who sits by her mother's grave. She confesses to feeling guilty about her recent assassination. Her father reassures her that the man she killed was a war criminal and doesn't deserve her remorse. Driss then tells him that the Russian intelligence agency has given her a new mission and that she'll be away for a long time. Her father reveals that his doctor told him he doesn't have much time left, but he welcomes death, saying it will bring him peace. He urges her not to mourn him, promises he'll be buried next to her mother, and asks that this be her final mission, after which she should live a peaceful life, one she can be proud of. We fast forward to December. Levi is now aboard a military aircraft, heading toward his next mission. He doesn't know where he is, or even what country he's flying over. He parachutes into a forest and treks through the wilderness until he arrives at a misty canyon between 2 cliffs. There he meets Jasper, the man he's replacing, who's clearly excited to see someone after spending an entire year in isolation. Jasper briefs Levi on the mission. He is to guard one side of the canyon from a tower on the western edge. When Levi asks about the tower on the opposite side, Jasper explains that a Russian sniper is stationed there, assigned to monitor the eastern edge. However, any form of communication between the 2 snipers is strictly forbidden. Jasper explains that the canyon is rigged with mines and equipped with advanced security systems to prevent anything from escaping. Sensors are installed throughout the area, and if any breach is detected, they'll trigger an automatic detonation of all the explosives inside the canyon, completely obliterating it. Jasper hands Levi his instructions, emphasizes the importance of staying alert, and warns him to never ignore the alarm siren, because if it sounds, it means a massive explosion is imminent. Levi is stunned by the scale of the preparations and the sheer arsenal of weapons stationed around the canyon. Curious, he asks Jasper what the mission really is. Is he supposed to stop outsiders from entering the canyon? Jasper shakes his head. No, he says, your mission is to stop whatever's inside the canyon from getting out. Levi looks confused. Jasper continues, there are strange creatures down there. We call them the ravine beasts. No one knows exactly what they are. Animals, aliens, something else entirely. Back in the late 1940s, the U.S. Army sent entire battalions into the ravine. Each one had about 2,400 soldiers. Not a single man ever came back. No one knows what happened to them to this day. Jasper explains that ever since, the U.S. and Russian militaries joined forces to secure both sides of the canyon, working together to ensure nothing from within ever escapes. Naturally, Levi doesn't buy any of it. It all sounds like a myth, an urban legend passed down between board guards. But Jasper is dead serious. After saying his goodbyes, Jasper leaves, relieved that his mission is finally over. He heads toward the extraction point. A military helicopter lowers a rope for him, and as he's pulled up, a rare smile crosses his face. He's going home. But then a gunshot. Jasper is hit and falls from the rope, lifeless. Later, Barso receives confirmation. Target eliminated. That's when we learn the chilling truth. Everyone who finishes their shift in the tower is killed. The military eliminates them to ensure that the secrets of the ravine and what lives within it never reach the outside world. The ravine must remain a secret forever. We jump ahead to October. Levi is still in the tower. Every 30 days, he climbs down to inspect the surveillance systems and test the automated machine guns along the perimeter. After each check, he sends a brief radio message confirming everything is secure. But isolation is starting to weigh on him. One day, while browsing the tower's bookshelf, He notices writing behind it. He pulls the shelf aside and discovers messages etched into the wall. Notes left by the guards who served in the tower before him. Among them is a quote from poet T.S. Eliot. "Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go." The words stick with him. He picks up his scope and looks across the canyon, spotting Driss, stationed in the eastern tower. Though they're forbidden from communicating, they silently observe one another from afar. One stormy night, Levi is jolted awake, grabbing his rifle in a panic. But it's just thunder. He looks through his scope again. Driss is still there, sitting alone like him. They are two strangers, mirrors of each other, trapped in the same silent prison. In November, we see Driss lighting a single candle on a slice of cake. It's her birthday. She looks through her scope and sees Levi writing in his notebook, wanting to connect. She fires a single shot into the air to get his attention, then holds up a sign that reads, "It's my birthday today." Levi sees it, smiles, and responds with his own sign, "Happy birthday." From that moment, they begin a quiet exchange, writing messages on boards, slowly getting to know one another. Driss asks if Levi is any good at shooting. He replies, "I'm only good at one thing, hitting targets." She challenges him to prove it, sets up a target near her tower. Levi raises his rifle, takes the shot, and hits it dead center. But the light-hearted moment is quickly shattered by an eerie sound echoing from the canyon below. Driss asks, "Do you see anything?" Levi scans the area, then freezes. He sees them, the ravine beasts, crawling, climbing, trying to escape. He opens fire. One of the mines detonates, blasting them back. At the same time, Driss unleashes a barrage from her machine gun to stop the others from reaching the top. They both stop firing. Driss peers cautiously over the edge of the ravine from her tower, and suddenly, one of the creatures reaches up, its hand clawing at the ledge. She pulls out a pistol and shoots it, sending it plummeting back into the depths. She tends to a minor injury on her arm, patching herself up calmly. That same day, Levi descends from his tower to repair the mines and check the deterrent systems. Driss silently watches him from her post. December arrives. Nothing has changed, each of them still guarding their side of the ravine, isolated in their towers. The weight of solitude is clearly taking its toll. Through her scope, Driss notices something new, a small Christmas tree, decorated and lit up near Levi's tower. A gesture of hope, a fragile attempt at warmth. She smiles. It's his way of celebrating the holidays. Even if they're both alone, they continue to communicate the only way they can, by writing on boards and watching each other through their scopes. In a strange way, it feels like they're spending time together, despite the distance. February. Levi wakes with a jolt from another nightmare. Everything is still the same, alone, cold, distant. That night, Driss quietly cries as she looks at a photo of her father. Levi, watching through his scope, sees her sadness. He writes on his board, "Are you okay?" She shakes her head slightly. "It's been a hard day." She writes back that she wishes he were there, so she wouldn't feel so alone. Levi thinks for a long moment. His eyes drift to the wall, the one with that old poem carved into it. "Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go." He breathes deeply. Then he acts. He ties one end of a rope to a grenade launcher, takes aim, and fires it toward Driss's side of the ravine. She sees it through her scope, realizes what he's trying to do, and rushes down from her tower. She secures the rope to a sturdy tree, then checks her scope again. Levi holds up his board. "I'm having dinner with you tonight." She can't help but smile. For the first time in forever, she won't be alone. Levi picks a wildflower on the way, attaches a pulley to the rope, and slides across the ravine. When they finally meet face to face, he hands her the flower. They share dinner in her tower, opening up about their lives. Levi tells her stories from his past missions, and the conversation inevitably turns to the ravine and the creatures within. Levi is curious. He wants to know what lies beneath, but Driss doesn't share that hunger. She believes some truths are better left alone. She recalls something her father always told her: an obsession with the truth only leads to sorrow. Levi disagrees. In his experience, sorrow comes from burying the truth, not seeking it. Ever since the first time he pulled a trigger, nightmares have haunted his sleep. That's why he retired 4 years ago. Then why take this mission? Driss asks him. Levi replies quietly, "Because I had no one to live a safe life for. If I hadn't felt so alone, I never would have come back. Driss understands. The next morning, Levi says goodbye and prepares to return to his tower. He secures himself to the rope pulley and begins sliding across. But just then, he sees movement. Creatures are scaling the ravine wall. One of the mines detonates. The rope snaps. Levi falls down into the ravine. Driss watches in horror as he vanishes into the abyss. Without hesitation, she grabs her weapons and a rope. She straps on her parachute and jumps. She lands in a fast-moving river deep within the ravine, battling the current until she pulls herself out onto the rocks. At the same time, we find Levi unconscious, dangling from a tree deep inside the ravine. Strange, spider-like creatures are crawling toward him, inching along the branches. Just then, he wakes up, startled, and fires at them. The recoil knocks him loose, and he crashes onto the rocks below. But the danger is far from over. Beneath him, something begins to move. An unknown creature camouflaged within the stone. It's grotesque. Fawn-like limbs rise, wrapping around Levi, restraining him. He struggles, helpless, as it's about to consume him. Suddenly, gunshots ring out. It's Driss. She's made the jump into the ravine to save him. Relief washes over Levi as she pulls him free. From that moment on, they move together through the mysterious chasm, unaware of what dangers await. Their plan is simple: head toward the eastern wall of the ravine and climb their way out. But then they're ambushed. Grotesque, humanoid creatures riding skeletal horses charge at them. Levi and Driss fight back, using everything they have. After a fierce struggle, they manage to take the creatures down and check on each other. They're okay, but not for long. Driss realizes that the climbing rope she brought fell into the river. The wall they need to scale, 500 meters high. They have no choice. They'll follow the river south, hoping it leads to an exit. While moving along the ravine, Levi makes a chilling discovery. One of the creatures they killed is wearing a military uniform. It hits them. These creatures were once soldiers from the 3 battalions assigned to this ravine. All 2,400 of them gone, transformed. They press on, shaken and confused. The path leads them through a bizarre landscape where tree roots form skeletal shapes, twisted like bones. Eventually, they stumble upon an abandoned chapel. Inside, they find the remains of soldiers, still seated in the pews. Beside them, vials of cyanide. These men had chosen death over the horror of staying in the ravine. Driss and Levi continue, finally reaching the eastern wall. There's a fortress embedded in it. They take shelter inside. The place is eerily silent, filled with more corpses, former soldiers turned into ravine creatures. While exploring, Levi finds an old film reel labeled, "May God Forgive Us." They set up a projector and watch. The footage begins. A female scientist, speaking in 1946, appears. She reveals a horrifying truth. During the war, the Allied forces formed a secret pact, establishing a hidden research base inside the ravine. Their goal? To develop a biochemical weapon, a race to create the ultimate deterrent before the Nazis perfected the atomic bomb. But then, disaster struck. A massive earthquake hit the ravine, releasing toxic biochemical agents from a lab. The scientists were exposed and began to change, mutate. Their bodies became inhuman, a mix of radiation poisoning and chemical infection. The very weapon they tried to control turned against them, creating a permanent, living threat inside the ravine. Anyone who enters risks the same fate. Levi turns to Driss, urgency in his voice. "We need to get out before it happens to us." Then Levi discovers something even more shocking. A modern computer terminal, still operational. On it, he finds classified files. The U.S. military continued the experiments, tracking the mutation data. The goal? To control it, to create super soldiers. It's all a cover-up. Now they understand why they were guarding the ravine, not to protect people from it, but to protect the project from exposure. Levi digs deeper. He finds information on automated sensor systems placed throughout the ravine. These systems are rigged to detonate planted explosives if they're tampered with, to destroy all evidence. If that happens, the nearest safe zone is 4 kilometers away. They gear up to leave. As they move out, Driss steps into a trap. A rope tightens around her leg and yanks her violently across the ground. One of the creatures, still on horseback, drags her away. She hits something hard, blacks out. Levi chases after them. Driss regains consciousness, suspended inside some dark lair. She kicks the creature off, freeing herself. A brutal fight breaks out, but it's stronger than her. She grabs a burning branch, trying to set it ablaze, but it's no use. Just as the creature closes in, Levi arrives, firing at it. He rescues her. They embrace briefly, relieved to be alive. Levi notices a nameplate on the creature's tattered uniform. Captain Bradford. He was the same man who carved the poetic phrase on the wall back in 1947. He had once guarded the tower. Now he was one of them. Levi and Driss rush to the storage area inside the fortress, find an old jeep. They head toward the eastern wall. There, they reattach the rope Levi had previously fired across the ravine. But the creatures are right behind them. Driss opens fire to buy them time until she runs out of bullets. Then Levi takes over, but his ammo runs dry too. The jeep begins to crawl up the slope as Driss gets it moving. Suddenly, they feel a tug. The creatures are climbing the rope, pulling themselves toward the jeep, and they're not stopping. Levi glances at the sword he's carrying and slashes at the creatures. Driss fights beside him, wielding her axe. As they battle the monsters, trying to climb onto the slow-moving jeep. They strike them down one by one, knocking them off. At one point, Levi nearly falls off the vehicle, but manages to catch himself and climb back up. He lights a flare and throws it at the creatures, setting them ablaze as they continue climbing the rope. Then, Levi and Driss cut the rope, stopping the creatures and climbing the rest of the way out of the ravine. They return to the tower, tend to their wounds, and wonder whether the radiation exposure they suffered down in the ravine will affect them. Levi explains that if 5 days pass without any mutations, they'll know they're safe. He then tells Driss he now understands why he was chosen for this mission. It's because he was alone, with no one who'd miss him if he disappeared. But after meeting her, he no longer feels alone. He has someone worth living for. Driss smiles and tells him they could escape together, run away to a place she knows in France, where they could live in peace. Levi agrees, but insists they wait 5 days to be sure they're not infected. Then, they'll destroy the ravine to stop the horrific experiments from continuing. As Levi prepares to leave on a rappel line, he looks back at her and says, "I love you," before heading back to the tower. He contacts Parso over the radio. She asks if he left his post and went into the ravine, saying they received a signal from the underground lab. Levi denies it. Parso assumes it was the woman from the eastern tower who went down, and coldly orders Levi to eliminate her. Levi pretends to agree, but as Parso ends the call, she gives a separate order to an elite assassin. Prepare for extraction. They need to eliminate both Levi and Driss, who now pose a threat to the project. They'll simply replace them with 2 others. Back at the towers, Levi and Driss are communicating silently by writing messages on boards. Suddenly, they hear the sound of a helicopter approaching. Levi realizes Parso is coming to kill them. He yells for Driss to run. Parso lands with her tactical team and heads for the western tower. She finds it empty and learns the soldier from the eastern tower has also fled. She orders drone helicopters to open fire. Now in the forest, Levi and Driss are separately running for their lives, trying to stay ahead of the drones. They must get at least 4 kilometers away from the ravine. Levi plans to destroy the sensor system, which will trigger a massive explosion. The drones fire at Levi. He dodges and fires back, blowing one up. At the same time, Driss shoots down another drone with her rifle. Together, they make their way far enough and take aim at the sensor devices lining the ravine. One by one, they shoot and destroy them. Back in the tower, Parso hears the warning siren. She realizes they have 1 minute before detonation. She rushes to the helicopter with her team, trying to escape. Meanwhile, Levi and Driss run as fast as they can. Parso urges the pilot to lift off quickly, but it's too late. The ravine explodes, consuming everything, including the helicopter. Levi is caught in the blast and thrown into a waterfall. Driss looks back in horror, witnessing the destruction. She realizes Levi must have died. Days pass. Driss is alone, waiting for the 5 days to be over, hoping the radiation didn't affect her. She finds a note in her clothing, one Levi had secretly left. It reads, "If I don't make it back after 5 days, just like we planned, please read this at sunset." The 5 days pass. She's healthy. She travels to France, the peaceful place she once mentioned. At sunset, she opens the letter. Inside is the same poem Levi had once written for her. She reads it, overwhelmed with emotion. Months later, in April, we see Driss working at a small restaurant. serving customers. Her life is simple, quiet, and safe. But suddenly, she freezes in disbelief. Levi is sitting at a table, smiling. He slides a napkin across to her. On it, he's written, "I decided to have dinner with you tonight." Tears well up in her eyes as she realizes he survived. She tells him he took way too long. Levi says he was wounded, had to take care of a few things, and make sure no one was tracking him. Dries laughs through her tears and says she has a job for him at the restaurant. On one condition, he writes her a new poem. They smile, and that's where our movie ends. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. See you in the next one.